Clara stared at the old clock. It wasn't pretty. Its wooden case was scratched and dusty. The paint was peeling, but it was special. It had been in her family for ages. Her grandma had given it to her. "Take care of it," Grandma had whispered. "It's more than just a clock." The clock had a loud tick-tock. It seemed louder at night, like it was trying to tell her something. Clara often found herself staring at its swinging pendulum, lost in thought. What did Grandma mean? What was so special about this old clock? Clara tried not to look at it too long. It made her uneasy, but she couldn't help herself. There was something about it, something that drew her in, something mysterious. The wind howled outside. Rain lashed against Clara's window. It was a scary night, the kind of night where shadows danced, the kind of night that made you want to hide under the covers. Clara snuggled deeper into her bed, but she couldn't sleep. The old clock ticked loudly downstairs. Tick-tock, tick-tock. Each tick sounded like a heartbeat, a slow, steady heartbeat. Clara pulled her blankets tighter. She wished she had left the clock at Grandma's house. A bolt of lightning flashed. The room was bathed in white light. For a split second, Clara saw it, a figure standing by the bedroom door, tall and shadowy. Then it was gone, just as quickly as it had appeared. Clara held her breath. Her heart pounded in her chest. Was it just her imagination? Had she really seen something? She listened intently. The storm raged outside, but there was another sound too, a faint whispering coming from downstairs. Clara slowly got out of bed. She had to see what was going on. She crept towards the door. Each step creaked on the wooden floor. Her hand trembled as she reached for the doorknob. The whispering grew louder as Clara tiptoed down the hallway. It seemed to be coming from the living room, where the old clock stood. Clara took a deep breath and peeked around the corner. The living room was dimly lit by the occasional flash of lightning. The old clock ticked ominously, and there, standing in front of it, was the figure. The same figure Clara had seen earlier, tall and shadowy, its features hidden in the darkness. Clara's breath caught in her throat. She wanted to scream, but no sound came out. She stood frozen in terror as the figure turned towards her, slowly, deliberately. Its eyes glowed with an eerie light. Clara could hear her own heartbeat in her ears. The whispering grew louder. It seemed to be coming from the figure itself. A cold shiver ran down Clara's spine. She knew she had to get out of there. Clara turned and ran. She didn't look back. She could hear the figure moving towards her, its footsteps heavy and slow but relentless. She raced down the hallway, her bare feet pounding on the wooden floor. She could feel the figure's presence behind her, cold and menacing. She fumbled for the doorknob, her fingers slipped. She tried again. This time the door swung open. Clara stumbled out into the storm. The rain soaked through her pajamas instantly, but she didn't care. She ran. She didn't know where she was going, but she had to get away from that house, from that clock, from that figure. Clara ran until her lungs burned and her legs ached. She finally collapsed on a park bench, soaked to the bone and trembling with fear. She looked back at her house. The windows glowed dimly in the darkness. The storm had passed. The only sound was the gentle chirping of crickets. Clara took a deep breath and tried to calm down. She was safe now. She was far away from the house, from the clock, from the figure. But as she stood up to go home, she glanced at her wrist and let out a gasp. There on her wrist was a small antique watch, its hands frozen at the stroke of midnight, and engraved on its back were the words, "Time is running out."